Hello and welcome to Vestiges of History, where we tell of storied lives. My name is Dylan, and I hope you're having a glorious day. So what I have for you today is a story from my hometown, Santa Ana, California. A story of a boy of a life cut short by the cost of war. I am privileged to share the story of Santa Ana's first casualty of the First World War, Lieutenant Jacob Egbert McKean. To tell the story of Lieutenant McKean, we have several vestiges. The first is a World War I brass table medal designed by the Orange County War Service Recognition Association in 1919 to recognize local veterans of the war in Europe. The scroll on the reverse has an engraving, simply Jacob Egbert McKean. Then we have a smaller table medal, similar in design. This one is engraved in the following way: presented to his mother in honor of Egbert McKean, the First Presbyterian Church of Santa Ana, California. Greater love hath no man. These medals are followed by his suede leather flight cap, flying goggles, his pilot's license bearing his photograph and signature, and finally, this, a model plane. More on that later. So let's begin pulling threads. Egbert McKean was born in Crestline, Ohio on 7 October 1888 to Jacob McKean and Marley McKean née Moss. He was the fourth of 6 children and the second boy in the McKean family, and the family moved to Santa Ana, California when he was 7 in 1892. Egbert attended Roosevelt Elementary School and then Santa Ana High School. Upon graduating in 1908, Egbert immediately joined the Navy for a 4-year hitch in a Navy band stationed at San Francisco. When he left the Navy, he worked as a claims adjuster for Aetna Life Insurance in that same city. His older brother, John Ross McKean, joined the Navy around the turn of the century, and Ross would serve as the inspiration for his younger brother to join the service. Ross himself would stay in the Navy for 30 years and serve in both World Wars and receive a Navy Cross for his service on a minesweeper in the North Sea during World War I. McKean re-enlisted in the Navy Coast Defense Reserve in May of 1917. On June 27th, he requested a discharge from the Navy Reserve in order to join the aviation section of the U.S. Army Signal Corps. He began training as an aviator at the University of California, Berkeley for 8 weeks, graduating in August 1917. Then, for those Top Gun fans, he was transferred to North Island Naval Air Station, where the Army Signal Corps had an aviation school since 1913 until 1937. He graduated at the top of his class of 90 other flyers. He was lauded for his skills in the air, and a French pilot who was advising the course, a Lieutenant Mares, said it was as if he was born in the air. He received the rank of flight instructor before graduating from North Island Flight School. Under secret orders, McKean and his squadron were ordered to points east, eventually arriving at Gershner Field, Louisiana in late January of 1918. On 29 January 1918, McKean was promoted with commission to the rank of First Lieutenant of the Signal Reserve Corps Air Service. He was ordered to active duty. McKean and his squadron were flying in a holding pattern, preparing to land near Jennings, Louisiana. He was flying plane number 2769 with Lieutenant Charles E. Cummings in the rear seat. The aircraft went into a steep dive from a reported altitude of 1,100 feet and never pulled out of that dive. The plane spiraled and crashed into the earth. It was the afternoon of 11 February 1918. Cummings reportedly survived with a broken collarbone and severe shock. McKean's remains were sent to Santa Ana and buried next to his father in the local cemetery. He is Santa Ana's first casualty of war in the 20th century. Now, remember that model plane I mentioned earlier? A Mr. Walter D. Morse of Jennings, Louisiana witnessed the crash. And for those in the world that are not fans of morbid subjects like myself, you can skip ahead now. But if you're like subscriber deadbeat, you know who you are, this is what I was talking about. Morse made the plane from the wreckage of McKean's plane. very Victorian, but it is way more than that. Allow me to quote the letter that Mr. Morse wrote to McKean's mother describing the plane. All of the wood except the propeller is spruce and is part of the original 2769. The propeller is mahogany and part of the original one. The bits of copper wire, sheet copper in the wheels, and the brass nails holding the wheels and the propeller are from the original plane. The little mahogany frame around the card, which bear the date of the accident and other data, is made from the chart frame from the instrument board of the original. How is that for poignance? A model plane made from the parts of an aircraft that a young man died in. As far as a testament to human sacrifice and grieving, this is one to remember. Mourning the loss of a young man just beginning to squeeze the juice out of life. Before I sign off, I want to thank my subscribers for reacting as y'all did to the Lee Marvin video. It was overwhelming, and honestly, it was a great birthday gift for me and an even better way to remember Lee. There will be more, much more, so thank you. Please support the channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing, and consider donating to my Patreon so we can tell more stories with even more depth. And as always, remember, you never know who will tell your story. Live a storied life.